Thank you so much. It's 10 minutes gone after the hour of 10, and this is your show, The Men's Corner. We are live from the UK. Like I said earlier on, for those that were listening earlier on to the show, I got in touch with Dr. Nkosana Moyo's representatives here in the UK, and I am in the process of arranging for him to be on the show one of these fine Thursdays, maybe to explain one or two things, why he decided to open a new party, why didn't he join some of the established opposition parties in Zimbabwe there, so that he can maybe get his words across from there. But anyway, he's decided to go it alone and form his own party, and he's going to run next year in the general election. So good luck to him. Hopefully we can have him here next Thursday or the following Thursday. We'll see how it goes. You know, he is in Zimbabwe now, so I think the time difference. But as you know, I don't encourage these people to have an interview earlier so that we can play it here. We want live. That's what we want. We want live, and we want people to call in. We want people to call in, and we want the panel to ask any questions to him. So I said no, he needs to be on the show at this time. If he is serious about wanting to his word to be heard out there, he needs to come live, and then he can be asked. People can ask any question that they want. That's the democracy that we want. But anyhow, that's for some time to come. Anyway, so Vapeve has contacted me that he will be about 30 minutes late today for the show. So I'm hoping that he will be here soon to catch up with us. He's got quite a lot of things, not least this so-called MDC Alliance, which I'm told is going to be happening in Bulawayo on Saturday. We want to hear more about that. They did one in Harare, now they're doing it in Bulawayo as well on Saturday. We want to hear more about that. The other issue to tell you is that Sekuru, as you remember, Sekuru is so desperate at the moment. He's helping his brother. He's helping his beloved brother, Arsene Wenger, to try and get any deals they can get, last-minute deals, to bring players to Arsenal. Because if you remember, we've got a bet, Nasekuru Panaba, that he thinks that Arsenal or Chelsea are going to win the Premier League, and I went with the Manchester clubs. So we will see who will win. But Sekuru, I think he will be joining us later. He's trying to help Arsene Wenger, trying to scoop the last deals of
and there's a chicken and a goat.
Yes, and this deadline day. This deadline day. But hopefully he will join us in good spirit there. And also, Mkoma Teach is in the process of assisting Sekuru as well. I'm expecting him shortly as well here. Hopefully, they will have signed one or two players. Right. Sally, welcome to the show.
Thank you, DJ Sodza. Good evening, DJ Sodza. Good evening, Wilbert. Good evening, Zimbabweans, wherever you are. I hope you've had a good week and you're ready for the show tonight, and you'll join us.
Right. Thank you so much, Sally. Maybe, Sally, you want to tell us a little bit about this Sodza that it does is You know, I was laughing for the couple of days, for the last 2 days. Even the news in Zimbabwe, they are talking about this Sodza and all this. What is all this about? What is the world gone to? What is she? What does she do?
Yes. I was listening to a clip of her on the 702 radio, today. And, I mean, it's just pathetic. They've got Brazilian singers, they've got Cuban singers and dancers. And listen, those Cuban ladies, they at the blink of an eye, they've got nothing on. So I don't know what they are performing about Zodwa for. And when they start doing that Bashana Kabesa do Garafa dance, there is very little imagination left, okay? Unless you are really naive as to what they are doing. Okay, so I mean, why they pick on Zodwa? It's South African, okay, as far as I'm concerned. And now they're trying to say that she's a lesbian and she lives with another woman and it's illegal in Zimbabwe, so therefore, and she's not Zimbabwean, so therefore she doesn't have any right to appear and blah, blah, blah. So far, from what I can make out from her interview on 702 Radio, she is still going, okay? So, I mean, it's just pathetic. It seriously is. I mean, it's okay for Grace Mugabe to come to South Africa and beat up a young girl, okay? That's fine. But for Zodwa, okay, who wears, I mean, she really dresses, that lady. I mean, she really looks good, okay? Because she dresses and dances it the way she does, and maybe she's a lesbian. She's not Zimbabwean. She's not allowed to go. I mean, how more pathetic can you get?
Okay.
Seriously.
So you're thinking it's just pathetic, but some people would want to argue that there's a lot of women in Zimbabwe that can go and dance there.
But there are. So why have the Cubans and the Brazilians and the whoever else is they having? Okay. Why have those dancers? Why not just have Zimbabwean dancers?
Okay.
It's a tourism thingy, isn't it? Now, tourism isn't just Zimbabweans visiting Zimbabwe places. Tourism is international. That's why they have the international thing. So, if they want to stop Zodwa because she's not Zimbabwean, then they must stop all the other international dancers that are coming. I mean, that's only logical, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Sally. We thought maybe we might ask you, maybe you might know one or two things. It's something that I saw popping up on social media and also in newspapers and even in the local news back home there, talking about this lady. And I thought it was a non-story. But anyway, Mkoma Wilbert Masquerade. Yeah, marega iri kundo hamsi kubatsirawo sekuru here kutsvaka maplayers for Arsenal.
Sekuru knows more about football than I do. Okay. So I'll leave him and Wenger to sort that one out.
Okay.
I understand Alex Sanchez is staying with Arsenal, which is good.
Yeah, which is good for them, yeah.
I think he's one of the key players for Arsenal, that one.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mkoma, for that. Mkoma teach here. Hello, Mkoma teach. Hello?
Gela.
Vamoyo maskera mamuka se.
Oh, ta muka muri right here.
Mamuka here kana kuti muchakarara.
Ndamuka zvokuvhura maziso zviyasi ndanichiri magumbezi makasimba here.
Tinofara moyo. Batai makadaro. Mkoma teach muri kutinzwa here apo kana kuti muchikutsvagira Venga ma players. Mkoma teach. Babangu chirari. Right. Okay. Regaiti siyane now. Right. Mkoma Wilbert regaiti tange nemi. Mkoma Wilbert, what did you make of the so-called solidarity march yesterday in Harare there?
I think it's typical of Zimbabweans. We have got a serious problem. The country is literally on fire, and we waste time staging my demonstrations about grace. I think it's disappointing. You know, 90% unemployment, poverty is rising, and you seriously want to tell me, Kuti, the top priority will be to demonstrate to support Grace Mugabe? I don't think so. I honestly think we have lost the plot there.
Lost the plot. So why were all these people gathered there? I could see quite a few people there. In fact, a lot of people going there. Are these people out of their mind, or is something that we are missing here that these guys are getting?
I think it's the political system that has sidetracked people instead of talking the issues that affect people's daily lives. You're being sidetracked. You're now talking of things that it's no relevance at all. You know, I mean, honestly, when you're talking of a situation where we don't have drugs in basic drugs like painkillers, even the biggest hospitals, just seriously believe, Kuti, demonstrating about what Grace Mugabe did in South Africa or what she didn't do is really the top priority for the country? I don't think so. I think this is a nation that has been so brainwashed to the point where I think we've lost the plot completely.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. One more, your thoughts on that?
I really wonder. Could see. I mean, so how do we view things, and how do we think, and how do we reason? In the first place, it doesn't mean we have the monopoly of deciding what is priority and what is important to everybody. I think everybody have a right to choose what is important to them and what is a priority to them. And therefore they act accordingly in terms of what they think. I mean, looking at the number of people that were there, and then for us to think that all those people were mad to go there, it could be an indication that this is what is really out of touch with reality. Yeah, it could mean that. Because remember, there are quite a number of things that people need to think seriously about here. The first one is that remember there have been these youth interface rallies that have been going on, and the people have been coming. We also had, like if you look in the immediate past, we had the interface rallies, we had the heroes, we had the Defense Forces Days, we had the Grace Solidarity. We are going to have a president with another interface in Gweru, maybe today or tomorrow, one of the days. But
yeah, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. And sorry, it's tomorrow, Kwamuri. But you know that one yeah, we will still see the people coming. And if you see, the other thing that you need to consider is, if you look at the time that the Solidarity March was announced, and the number of people who came, I mean, it appears it was in very short notice, and still people came in those numbers. It therefore means what is important to those people. So sometimes, instead of us trying to castigate them, it could be quite necessary that we align ourselves instead to what they think. Because sometimes we can waste time trying to think for other people when we are completely out of step and completely out of touch, it could be high time that we stopped and start thinking and looking at ourselves. Timboona kuti isusu vachina zvatiri kufunga nezvatiri kuita, is it relevant to the majority of our people? We have also held demonstrations ourselves, various demonstrations. If you look at them, like what Mkoma Wilbert was trying to tell us here, if you look at some of them, which of them would you say this was important and this was relevant? And important to who and relevant in what sense? I mean, these are things that we need to look at. When we say is it relevant, is it important? It's irrelevant to who and in what sense, and it's important in what sense. So unless we stopped and started thinking critically and crucially about this.
Question, DJ.
Yeah.
Before we find ourselves at 12 o'clock when it's still rambling. Moyo, we know unemployment is 90% plus. You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say, among those people who demonstrated, some of them, if not the majority of them, would be unemployed?
Yes.
So you think seriously you want to tell me if you've been unemployed for years, demonstrating in supporting of Grace Mugabe is more important than you getting a job?
In the first place, it could mean that your definition of unemployment and your definition of a job is completely at a tangent to theirs. It could be completely at a tangent. It could be completely off the mark and completely off target, because those are the people who are employed and those are the people who came.
So what you are saying, the majority, when you say 10% of the people are unemployed, you are saying no, they are employed. So what I say to you is, would you agree if you are unemployed? Getting a job is more important than demonstrating in support of Grace.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm telling you.
Of who is employed and who is unemployed. But just agree on, if you are unemployed, would you say that is more important?
It depends on what is your definition of employment. How are those people surviving? What is when you talk of employed and unemployed, what are you talking about? What are you referring to?
All right.
And is it the same thing in terms of how they see it themselves?
Okay. All right.
In the first place, you realize that the majority of the people in Zimbabwe, they are into their own little projects. They are doing their own things.
Yeah, I know.
Looking for Bwana to give them a job and then give them a slave salary. The majority of people are not looking at that anymore. So your definition of a job and your importance of a job is completely out of touch with reality that side.
Okay. All right, Wamoyo. Thank you so much for that. So it was justified for those people because so there's nothing wrong with those people going for such rallies. Thank you so much. That's what you're saying, Wamoyo. Sally?
Absolutely, yes.
Mm-hmm. Sally?
Yes, teacher.
What's your take on this one? We've got lots of things we want to talk about. So I don't know. You want to put your 2 cents onto this one? What did you make of it?
Foolish, idiotic, typical ZANU-PF, and I believe very few of them were even there freely. Okay, the Women's League, yeah, of course. Okay, I mean, they're used to being abused, so of course they're going to support Grace. And a few others. The rest of them, okay, were enticed there by whatever means. And that's it. I mean, for me, okay, all that rally meant was Zimbabwe agrees to beating up, to their magnificent First Lady beating up other women in other countries. They agree to it. So therefore, when she beats them up, they mustn't complain. There we are. That's my 2 cents on it.
That's your 2 cents on that. Okay. Thank you. Mukoma Tichi maswera seikwa?
Aswera ngoma zedza kuti maswerawo.
Mapedza iri kutsvakira Venga some players.
Tambodoba but to be announced.
To be announced? Ikato makorokoto. How many did you manage? How many did you manage to find?
Double or quit.
Double? Alright. Sekuru watondipa excuse kunogwanzi ndiri kumbobatsira Venga saka wasati wauya. I'm expecting you maybe in the next 30 minutes or so. Panovharwa window.
Papa ine mapitse.
Alright. Zvakanaka. Now then, Mukoma Tichi. Zviri sei kuLondon?
Tongoshingirira kawedza kacho kakutonhora kuita zvinodinda.
Makaizvionawo sei nezuro? Hama neshamwari dzenyu dzadziriko here kwakuri kupembererwa basa guru riri kuitwa nemudzimai wemutungamiriri wenyika kuHarare?
Vanga vakazara ikoko vanga vaudzwanzi kwauya futi mamwe mastendi naashadreki machamo.
Zvino wakapuhwa here?
Musika wese wemupedzanhamo wakavharwa. Ndaposta one mavhidhiyo mandambokukandira iwani.
Ndaona zvangu.
Yakavharwa misika yese kusiya so mupedzanhamo Mbare main yanga yakavharwa kuvharwa chaiko chaiko. Kusara tumiti tukaitwa vanoita mastendi vanhu vatambura vedwe. Ende unomva wangofunga mazuva aya eTangwena 79 Tangwena kusizifana. Pachigara vanhu vakawanda muTangwena mututangwena tukaya twemaplastic.
Zvanzi navamoyo panapa.
Ndo vanhu vakanokokorodzwa ivavo vari kunzi navamwe baba. Mhomho yakake yakazara takazenge takawati. Takazenge vobvunzwa ipapo nemagonyeti kuti maungana pano maungani. Munongonzwa ivi. Zvikanzi aiwa iforamu yekwaguti yedu yatinoita.
But akatadza kuvataurirawo vanhu kuti zvamafambira pano chii. What was that all about actually? Kwanzi navamoyo vanhu ava they come there nekuda kwavo.
At least vekumusika munovanzwi I can understand. Wangokokorodzwawo ka hapana chatingati chakanyanya kuipa pakutadza kwavo kudavidza. Nekuti it's a fact they didn't know why they were there. They knew they had to boost numbers for a picture opportunity for someone's intentions or underhand political machinations. But kuzonzwa anonzi minister vakutanga kuita mhenowo zvavanenge varongowo zvemaafree forum mapato avo avari kuitawo ikoko. Inongoziva ZANU-PF chete kusaziva kuti afrique forum yacho yavari kudemonstrate against chii. Minister Minister of Government. Ndakasiririswa. Iye zvino kwabuda runyereko pekunzi law and order section yakuda kuziva kuti vanhu vanga vachitaura uko according to buzz majournalist acho vanga vaine mvumo here yekutapa nhau vari accredited as what vakabhadhara here malicensing fees kubhaz ejournalism. Saka kureva kuti izo mahoso anenge ndiye complainant. Saka mapurisa anenge akutosunga macomedian
kutaura kuti
apirei nhau idzodzo.
Kutaura kuti vana gonyeti ava they might find themselves in a precarious position actually, isn't it?
Manzwira andiri kuita kutonzi vatoudzwa unzi munofanirwa kuira mumbopindura vakomana vekulaw and order section vane mibvunzo vahanzi but is by invitation. They've not been arrested but they've been invited for an interview.
To be asked why were you there interviewing people without accreditation?
Asking kuti vanhu vanga vasingazivi demo ndeyechii vanga vachiitei ikoko ende vanhu vese vanga vasina kana regalia yeZANU-PF which was 95% of the people that were there. Those that had ZANU-PF regalia had the one from 2013 kureva kuti ndoya vakagumisira kupiwa during the last elections not the latest yakutrenda yakadesignwa naDr. Amai. No, vanga vakapfeka idzodzo dzekuna 2013 idzo ndo dzavakashungurudzwa nadzo kekugumisira, ndo protection yavo from violence, ndo vakaudzwa nemabhazi akabva kumaruwa ivavo, ndo vanga vakapfura nemudhorobha vachitamba, ndo vakazenge votakura mabhana avo avakazobvunzwa kuti inomboita nezveiko iyi mumakati ndedu wekwagutu. Mumwe ndoti aiwa ndo zvatinoita kuchegutu kwedu, ndo matsigiriro atinenge tichiita kana tiri kuchegutu.
Mukoma tichi.
I'm sorry, Mukoma Sodza. This is just hilarious.
Yeah, but I know that you posted it into our group, and Wamoyo was very vocal about that, saying that Wanogata Sana Gonyeti, those were comedians, it wouldn't pass them, that she actually coached those people to say what they said because it's a comedian thing. What do you say about that?
Akatokocha Chipanga, akakocha Mandichi Mene as well, because they were the people that were not knowing what they were talking about right there.
Yeah.
I mean, those people.
Wamoyo, would you like to answer that?
Why were they making fun of their own rally supposedly for an iconic solidarity? Why would that be? Look, in fact, in the I should have simply refused to answer this. And it was Zigisira Kushuga Ikoko. Siemo ya nakirwe, he's got his freedom of speech. Ano kana kupenga, ano bvumiro kupenga. So, it didn't drag. I don't even want to entertain that, to be honest.
All right. Okay. That's fine. So, Wamoyo.
Yeah, changamiri wangu.
Saka wanagonyeta, really those are not people to talk about, and what they were recording there, it might be fake, isn't it?
Yeah, sekutanga like I have already said, iye wacho anombozikanwa ari chii. She's a comedian, she's a street performer. And the street performer ndiyo yana Kapupi, Nana Gringo and all that and all that.
I'm sorry. Honestly, nonsense, because we cannot be really seriously using this time for this kind of discussion. Honestly. Avanga we are going to comedy.
No, that's up to you. I mean, that's your opinion.
This show, a long time. Hold on, more. We've been in this show a long time.
Okay.
No, he gave me the opportunity.
All right.
You were talking in
a long time. And Gonet cannot come and make a comedy of solidarity at Dr. Amai. It just doesn't make any sense. So let's
I mean, it's up to him. It's up to them. A comedy, they make anything.
Yeah, Mozon Fonera Baker and Mapeza and more.
All right. Okay, but right. Okay. Mkoma moyo pet size you some muda uta ratins.
Yeah, still what I'm saying this which Gonyet is not a reporter. As a reporter, hip-hop. She's a comedian, a street performer. The drama in the street. And she was doing just that. Of course, Anna accreditation in journalism, Anna qualification in journalism, Anna background in journalism, hip-hop. And she was only reporting for anybody. I reported for who? I got journalist for who? And that is one thing. The other thing, we cannot actually consider ourselves as serious. Could you Zimbabwe AfriForum G? I also did not know AfriForum G until the kind of Zanga Kunzanezra, hijacking Anna Gabriel. But you AfriForum not I to start away for some of those people, Zimbabwe, they have better things to do instead of looking at such things. You could AfriForum G and the could AfriForum G. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Okay.
We could
So
be
why were they
desperate
carrying
for-
AfriForum
We
placards?
could be desperate for political mileage, but this is not the best way to do it.
All right.
The fact of the matter is, she was a comedian, and the question that she was asking is not the question for the ordinary people of Zimbabwe who are concerned with their own lives, and not what is going on in South Africa. I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't make sense.
Batai Makadaro. Batai Makadaro. Batai Makadaro, please. Just.
Sodza.
Okay. Okay, Tauraitin.
This is the problem with Moyo. A minute ago, he was telling us these people who were there knew what they were doing. And now he's telling us their own business to do. So, Moyo, make up your own mind. We told you these people.
Hello? Hello, Mkoma Fidza.
Yes, Mkoma Sodza.
Yeah, Mkoma Fidza ndatokata wamwe wese kuitira kuti ndikwanise kutaura nemi because I was trying kuti nditi one hold on but they are not listening. A line renyu riri kuti offline saka I cannot add you to the rest of the people. Can you switch your thing kuti ite online so that I can join you with the rest of the panel?
All right, I don't know. All right, let me check. I haven't used Skype for a long time. All right,
okay.
About or who it is. I mean, that is pure and utter stupidity.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much. I hope Mkoma Fitz watched phone it up. He wants to talk to us, but I think Skype you're in a little bit of a problem. It's showing offline here, so that I can. So in fact, can I offline like that? I cannot add it to here. Right. Teto Mashoko Maswera say go. You're saying why so sorry? Why carry the banner if you don't know what it means? I think that's what you're trying to say there. But anyhow, those are zvinoita tofambira mberi nechirongwa chanhasi. Regai tiende pamberi. I want to ask you guys about nyaya ye-voters roll. Yesterday, in fact, let me see. It's still not doing anything. Okay. Let me do this. Hold on, guys. Hello. Yeah, still it's not okay. Munokwanisa kundifonera paland here. Munokwanisa kufona paland.
The country land number pa Skype papa no phone.
Pa Skype papa. All right, again the country.
All right, cheers.
All right. Right. Zvatakuita panapa regai titore teto mashoko tinzi kuti vari kuda kuti kudia. Then what we do is tofambira mberi. Ndoda kunzwa nyaya yemavoters roll. Nyaya yakataurwa naWamudede neZuro kuti zvisinei regai tidai tifambire mberi nechirongwa. Handisi kuziva kune vamwe watibata panapa. I think mukoma Fidza mazokwanisa kugadzirisa nhare yenyu manje now live. Mukoma Fidza maswera sei kuScotland? Handisi kuziva kuti muri wapenyu zvenyu? Oh, okay. Munokwanisa kuti taurisei bijana. Ndakungokuonai mazuva ano muri black and red. What is going on with black and red there? Are they your favorite colors these days? I thought maybe they're your favorite color this time around. Saka nhasi matibata wakudai chii chakubatai mwoyo kuti mutibate nhasi pachirongwa?
Well, I spent the whole days working, so I was up in the mountains, so I relax all night, so
okay.
I can keep them come out.
Maita basa. Saka mainzwa ere nyaya yatatu kutaura nezvayo earlier on. We want to move on, but if you want to comment on it, you can.
Yeah, I just want to comment a little bit. Mr. Moe, I have a different angle. I have not much very fine, but to be honest, you can't discredit the community comedian. Right? Those people are just a bunch of Siplaka Jaka Bat are going to explain. As you know, comedy, it doesn't make sense at all. What they're supposed to explain a placard Jaka Bat of King. And the brother you can tell with those people were passed from Kutu Vachiyamara. It's 50-50. Those who have been passed from Kutu or Kwasimeno Guarogara, Akamara, half of the Anatoran, Poman teach Mbari Sangakapara. But the funny thing, they can't even explain what everybody in the track. So it's an embarrassment, to be honest. It's an embarrassment. Now they're trying to discredit what not going. Now, calling social media, you don't need to be a qualified journalist. All you need is to ask the right question. Then people tell us, no funga. That was the thing. The person couldn't even explain. What the comedian come on? Just leave it there.
So you don't believe in that? You thought those people actually didn't know why you were there? Basically, it's not about going it or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely, because in Europe, what it's obvious. If you look at it from the marriage, I don't go to it, looking at the time. I want a choice, right? Don't actually, because I don't know it has happened for years. Then the same thing will go like as far as I know, I think the law changed. There's nothing to do for that law. Of course, they want to compare it. But I man the national ID biometric can't vote. I've seen a right to do it. But then look at it with one actually metal ID. Those are the people like us, Chima 14 something. Chima metal ID. And any jail with the 40 scout and have a line to change my metal ID to the plastic and biometric in the end. To be honest, when I'm in there. Then Dr. Tanga to go quite to my foot. Dr. Tanga was
Saka imwe kuti mudede got no right to say kuti vanhu vane zvitupa zverata havasi kukwanisa kuti register because of this biometric what he's talking about. He has got no right for that.
Yeah, as far as the new constitution has no right to call for that.
Okay.
This is the first election after Vaita move on to the new to biometric candidate. An exemption. Can I read proper channel? There should be an exemption.
Saka kutaura kuti inini ndine chitupa cherata dai ndandiri kuti ndodzokera kuZimbabwe ndaitoitwa deny.
Yeah, because that's what he's saying. We do not deny based on that. Because you for 3 months to change that. But then idea rather. ID, which ID? Because your driver's license, people of my age, it's too metal.
Yes.
saka ndokutorwa kwemavhotso kwapedzika papa.
Aha, all right. Okay. Batai makadaro mukoma Phil. Ndoda kunzwa kuna tete wemashoko. Tete wemashoko chiko in fact regaiti kukwazisei. Muri ku Houston here tete wemashoko.
Hayi bo togera ku Minnesota.
Thank God for that. I'm just seeing this what has been happening in Houston there. It's catastrophe, isn't it?
Zvinonzwisa tsitsisha.
Aha. Now tete mafona imimi chii chanyaya kuti musimudze foni yenyu kufona nasi?
Mukuseka iyo.
Ndiri kuseka zvangu because mune mamuri kumbonyora zvinhu kuseruko.
Mbongerai makadaro. Munoziva kuti chii isusu ndakarerwa hangu kumondoro nanasekuru vangu ndaingohwa vachingoti hanzi unoziva wakaona hanzi mbudzi kuchema pavanhu ukuzvarira pavanhu kuti nditandirwe imbwa anditi ini ndakauya nechichemo changu kuna baba amoyo mese makateerera ndikati baba amoyo imi munobhadharwa mari yakawanda ende yakasimba zvekuti yekuti munonyatsosacrifice your own integrity. You sacrifice even the love of the country kuti Zimbabwe sure zvayaive iri nepayave asi munongouya muchirevera vanhu nhema muchituka vanhu muchidini muchiita smearing. Inini hangu chingoitawo kuti ndijoinewo chikwata ndilewo mari ndingangokwanisa kungodero asi vanorapa. Saka at the end of the day on a serious note sekuru vangu tichi kuti vangatoita walk away pana baba moyo. Look, Sekuru teach you are the voice of reasoning. At the end of the day, if you give platform to mass mearers, then they're doing exactly what they want, which is to go take vana vari kumamisha vari kufa nezhara vovapa mari nemasesi voti chiendai munonobata mabhana avasingatombo understand. And then again it builds straight into nyaya yemavhoti. MaZimbabweans we've got a huge problem. In the sense yekuti number one, we don't understand, appreciate the importance of a vote. And what does a vote mean? Until the day that people stop fighting, name calling, digging up dirt on each other, and then fighting kuti hanzi ma-coalitions ashande uya akazomira akati tatorerwa zvakati, until people really mature in the sense yekuti what is politics and what is it to save people. What is it kuva my community leaders and standing up and fighting for the voiceless? Then we'll continue going around the roundabout merry way. Nekuti at this stage, nyaya yekuti chitupa chipi chiri kushandiswa nechisiri and understanding ma ways akashandiswa before to rob my elections and not yet having my committees are tight, are supported not only by my businessmen, not only by my intellectuals in Zimbabwe. Then it defeats the whole purpose of having elections. It defeats the whole purpose of, it's just to try kuita zvakati. You know, there's a saying, Yama African American, let the thirst be real. Usually they laugh about it. Nekuti vanenge vachiti and urikuda, sure you want something, you are prepared to do anything and everything. Until Zimbabweans' thirst is really real and they are ready for change and they want it, really want it. The day they will go into the streets, enough is enough, this is nonsense. At Chadakana Kukun's way, we want to start clean slate. And you are not going to dictate how the elections are going to go. And we are not going to partake in those elections. If you don't do something and implement it by such a date, these are the very clear steps that we are taking. Tichangoramba zvedu isu nevazukuru vedu ana runyararo tiri ngori mumaoverseas. Zimbabwe taakungoiona muhope. Tingagoita sei?
Aiwa, zviri kunzikwa. Tete, thank you so much for that. Right, Sally.
Yes, teacher.
Sally, are you there? I want to ask you about this story, my ID.
BVR.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you make of it? I know you were reading a lot about it earlier on. What did you find out about it?
It's just another ZANU-PF desperate thing to obliterate half of the voting population, okay?
Right.
to make sure that they win. It's look, the BVR, for a start, has it been gazetted legally yet? Okay, that's number one. Number two, the BVR is only for registering voters for this election. It's got nothing else to do with voting, from what I can understand. Okay? And number one, the ID, which is either your passport, your ID, your driver's license, then some paper thing, interim ID application thing or something, okay? These are just for physically verifying your details, okay? That's all. Whether the BVR mechanism can read the metal ID or not, I have no idea, okay? So, I mean, I can't make a judgment on that. And the only people that I'll trust on making a judgment on that are Titch or Sekuru, okay? If they say something on it, then I'll know that that's the truth. And where was Zek? How come Zek wasn't there saying, yes, it's right, banning whatever, okay? Now, the ID issuing department can only issue 70 new IDs a day, okay? And they reckon, as a very gentle estimation, there are 3 million people that have metal IDs, okay? So, they either have a choice, okay, of extending the ID renewal period, okay? Therefore, they're going to have to then shelf the BVR registration thing completely, okay? Which then allows Mugabe to bring in his 2013 overload, okay? So, I mean, it's just another ZANU-PF desperate thing to hang on to power. And they are going to try every which way but loose, okay? Including loose. To make sure that they win come elections, because that's the only way they can do it.
Right, okay. Yeah. Aiwa, zvikunzikwa Sari, thank you so much for that. Mukomatichi, I saw you writing a few things in social media about it, saying that they should explain further. Have you digged a little bit about it?
I think Sally has managed to explain it quite very well. This is one of the major reforms that we talk about when we talk about reforms. The independent commissions that run those institutional things that require an independent body from both the executive and parliament. That is the whole idea of ZEC, is to be an independent body that is not influenced by anyone in government, externally, civic society, but must prepare, manage, and run, and conduct, and announce the results of an impartial election. That is the whole idea. Now, let's go to the wafflings of Mdede that we know are the typical sycophantic ZANU-PF wafflings. The first and foremost thing that you need to understand is that when we got rid of the National Registration Certificate, otherwise known as the Chitupa, and introduced the National Identification Card and the long form birth certificate, Zimbabwe introduced biometric registration way back then. Biometric. Zimbabwe has been running biometric registration of its nationals from birth to death. All we are talking about is now putting it in electronic form. And if they so choose, the Registrar General's office can also introduce microchips which are machine readable in addition to the biometric data that we already provide. Let's not make biometric sound like some sophisticated, complicated something. Biometric simply means capturing identifiable, unique characteristics of the registrant. That is either in the form of the facial image, in the form of fingerprints, in the form of DNA, in the form of distinguishing marks. We already had the Chitupa, called Chitupa, for the simple reason that you supplied your finger, your thumbprint, as part of identifying you. We also, within that Chitupa, had a distinguishing mark that would be put on there. Everyone had a distinguishing mark put on the Chitupa. We already had that. Right now, with the introduction of the National Registration Act for the National ID card, we now got to get a picture, major biometric. We now got to give the full spectrum of your fingerprints. We also got to continue to give the distinguishing mark that you have on your body, be it a tattoo, a previous injury, or you are crippled, or whatever it is, something that is distinguishing about yourself, which is unique. That is full spectrum BVR is captured anywhere on earth. There is no other country that captures beyond that, because your facial recognition will capture your eyes, your iris. That's why they say you should not wear eyewear that is not permanent, and you should not have any hairstyle that is irregular. You should have your usual hairstyle when you go to get the picture for your passport, and that captures your iris, your retina, your face, your nose. If you go on your smartphones, it will tell you that it was the face recognition. This is part of biometrics, and that's what it is. It's not a big deal. It's just something that simply identifies you uniquely to yourself. You don't need to have a machine readable nothing. You don't need that to be read by what to go where. The BVR kits simply means that the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is able to capture that data directly from you, not from the Registrar General, not from your Chitupa. You take your Chitupa to go and identify yourself with, this is me, Teach, and then they are going to verify that, authenticate that it is definitely a national registration, and then they take the voter registration biometrics. It's got nothing to do with national ID, Chitupa, or passport, or any other form of identification that is a requirement under the Registrar General's Act in terms of registration of deaths, births Act. So it is not a requirement at all. Not even just discussing it here without even bringing in any sort of expert. ZEC themselves have already dismissed it. I was talking to Commissioner Mshonga and she said, no way, there's no requirement for it because we are capturing it. That's why we are buying the biometric kits to capture biometric voter registration. It's a different exercise. It's got nothing to do with Mugabe. Mugabe should not be making any pronouncement of this independent commission at all. We don't even trust them already. And he's just making it even worse.
Right. There is nobody on this one.
Absolutely stop.
Okay.
There's not even an essential collaboration between his department and the ZEC for the different exercise that they're doing. Even they want to upgrade to putting microchips on identity card. He can do that for as many years as he wants. There's no emergency for it to be related to the electoral process that ZEC is doing.
Aiwa. Vamoyo, do you agree with what Mkomatich is saying there?
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Only that, Nenge, instead of taking this information to social media, or I mean to just climb on top of a mountain and start shouting from there, anybody with a grievance, I think there are certain buildings in Zimbabwe which are called courts, and this is where these matters should be addressed and resolved. If anybody thinks they have a grievance, go to court, have it addressed there, end of story.
Oh, okay. And these are the courts of Zimbabwe you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh,
You can go to AfriForum if you want. Ngoma, it's allowed. You can go to AfriForum or any other court.
okay.
For as long as there is recourse there, it's okay.
AfriForum is not a court. AfriForum is not a court, number one, okay?
Okay, right.
No, I was only expressing my choices, which you not end up with. So yeah, it's up to anybody to go wherever they think.
All right, thank you so much. Mukoma Wilbert.
I agree with what the other speakers were saying there, but I think I'll come in from another angle.
Mm-hmm.
The issue of voter registration, we are starting a new voters roll with a completely new system. This decision to use the biometric voter registration system was made in the last constitution. So, after the 2013 elections, we already knew that is the system we were going to go into. Why has it taken so long to get the kits and then to start the voter registration? This is exactly what ZANU-PF always does. They will delay everything so that they stampede everybody. And then nobody will have any chance to check what is happening. And what Mdede is doing is just introducing another complication in a process that has already been delayed. In this particular case, surely they should have known all along that you cannot use your metal ID in this system. Why didn't they announce it before? And why didn't they fix it? Or why didn't they buy a kit that is able to read the metallic one? I mean, this is one of the problems that we have with this government. They deliberately delay things to the last minute. And I think one of the things that I would like to say in this program is that, remember in 2013, we did not get a verifiable voters roll. And even when we requested it, and it is a legal requirement that it should be issued at least a month before the voting date, it was never released. And even up to today, many people have requested it, and it has never been issued. And what is going to happen next is that for these coming elections, we will not have a verifiable voters roll before the elections. So we'll go into another election with nobody knowing who is on the voters roll and who is not. And how many people have been put on the voters roll twice, 3 times, 10 times? Nobody. This is typical of the vote rigging that ZANU-PF has been doing. And my personal opinion is that we really should not, I agree with what Teto Mashoko was saying earlier on there, we should not be participating in an election that we know is going to be rigged and then complain afterwards that it has been rigged, because we already know it is going to be rigged.
Right. Thank you so much. And so address something there before we go pamberi. Teto Mashoko mama pedza yenyuka on this issue.
Ndandapedza zvangu in the sense yekungoti chete people need to reclaim back their power. Nobody ever empowers you, you empower yourself. People are there to take away power from you. Until people get that, understand that, and they act on that, we remain where we are.
All right. Pane message yandatumirwa na mkoma watoshanda nawo pano paZimnet. Vanoteerera chirongwa a lot, and is one of the first listeners on the show every Thursday. Kwanziko Mkoma Sodza, I was just wondering, by any chance, did you catch the financial news coming out of Zimbabwe? Apparently, the stock market had a massive gain of 67% over 8 months. This over an economy that has only grown by barely 1%. This is very, 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 very bad. This is the beginning of hyperinflation. I can expand more on this, but I thought this would be a good area of discussion. I must admit, I have not come across this at all today or even the day before. Is anyone on the panel has an idea of what my brother is talking about here? Anyone at all there?
No, but I can Google it quickly.
No, I didn't. It didn't come across to me at all. So I was. It just came now from this brother of mine. But anyway, let's go ahead and ask a few questions that I've got here. Mukoma teach mulipo ira.
Sorry, Ndabo.
Yeah, no, Mukoma teach. I saw you posted something, a statement that was a statement that we got from Maimjuru about this coalition. I think you posted it last night. Vachitaura on the conditions of how the coalition should be.
Yes.
Yes. Would you like to tell us more about that? What was she trying to say? What is the party's stance on coalition? What are they demanding that the coalition should be?
It's not Dr. Mjuru who said anything. It's the National Council.
Oh, okay.
The National Council has simply said the original idea of a grand coalition is what we subscribe to, not an MDC alliance. If the MDC alliance wants to come into a grand coalition as MDC alliance, no problem. But the coalition or grand coalition must have its own distinguishing mark, which shows that it's a national coalition, not an MDC alliance.
Yeah, but then you see, there are some people Mkoma teach that were saying that no, but I can understand fully if they are saying we don't want a coalition in MDC because they are not MDC. This is a coalition.
Even PDP have got the same objections. So at the end of the day, it goes without saying, Mkoma, it will be the first of its kind. Any coalition, if you go to the Rainbow Coalition in Kenya, it's a conglomeration of different political parties that have coalesced together to come to an agreement and have a chosen leader. Whether we choose Trangirai or anybody else, the coalition will still have to have a distinguishing name for itself, not to be mistaken as an MDC alliance or anything MDC, but a coalition in which MDC is also a participant like others, not where MDC purports to have absorbed everyone into their own alliance. That's just a political joking. So we hope that is part of the negotiating process, and ultimately sense will prevail and a proper grand coalition will be agreed, and we move forward. It's not about positions. Dr. Mjuru said clearly that if people want to be a leader, she's happy to be a leader. If they want Trangirai to be a leader, she's happy for Trangirai to be a leader. And that is not the issue. I know that some people want to mix and match so that it suits their own agenda of disenfranchising or disturbing the process. The truth of the matter is that even them leaders, as they are talking, they do appreciate that they need each other. So the issue of grandstanding unfortunately means that every one of them is singing to their own constituencies. So that creates that kind of situation. But we hope it's a continuation of negotiating, and if people take their positions that way, they must ultimately say, this is the point that we have reached. We are hoping that right now, as they are discussing, an actual name will be proposed so that people know what name is being proposed. Or if others have a counter proposal, then let these names come out and people start talking about those names so that we quickly go over this allegiance or misplaced loyalty to political formations when we've got a national issue that needs those political formations to come together, and change this rot that ZANU-PF has reigned upon our nation.
Thank you so much. I can now understand actually the point of view there, that really you cannot have an Arsenal coming together with a Tottenham, then you say we are going to call this mixture a Tottenham team. You can't do that. You have to find, yes, you have to find, in simple terms, basically that's what you're saying, Komatichi, that's what, that's what you're saying.
Even delegates from southern region, we're talking about how ZAPU ended up becoming part of ZANU-PF. When ZANU-PF itself had changed and registered as a new party in 1979, at the end of the ceasefire, both the PF, ZAPU, and ZANU-PF went back to just putting the PF, which was part of the Patriotic Front, and the ZANU-PF could not use the name ZANU because the ZANU was already there under ZANU Ndonga or Chimwenje, which was headed still by Dr. Stolle. So as it was, ZANU-PF legally could not use the name ZANU, even though Kuhondo we were only known as ZANU. So in 1979 and the registration for elections in 1980, ZANU-PF actually became constituted as a new party at law. So if we were to go backwards, right now ZANU-PF actually would be said was formed in 1980. Because ZANU remained with Dr. Stolle the same way that what's his name, Professor Welshman Mugabe ran away with the name MDC. MDC is not MDC Mugabe. It's the only MDC that's simply called MDC. MDC-T became a newly constituted party when they added the T and which was for Tsvangirai as their brand. So it's not the original MDC at law. I know people argue about this, but once we go to court, all these parties know who they are. They are not what they say they are.
Okay. Aiwa, thank you so much. Mukoma Tawanda Masquera say.
Masquera DJ and Masquera on. I'm going to move.
Aiwa, I know it's fine. It's fine. Those OT time different nebasa kwenyu kurine yakawanda. Mukoma saka ndongoti muti mungoti ga. I know, in fact, let's not go back to it. Zvatambotaura earlier on, it would be interesting to hear your thoughts, but I think tinoita kudzokera kumashure. Mukoma, someone said to me, Maimujuru doesn't want this coalition because varikutiwo MDC, we don't want the name ekunzi MDC Alliance because they are not MDC. But now I can understand, Mukoma teachers explained to me that if there is going to be a coalition, it shouldn't be called an MDC coalition or something like that. They have to go with a different name altogether because it will not be an MDC coalition.
Wow. Maimujuru arikubhevha kunge musikana ari kunyengwa. Nhasi ari kupimbwa, nhasi ari kutaura chimwe, mangwana ari kuti dai wanga waita mota, mangwana ari kutaura kuti unofunga hunyatsondida iwe. You know, it has been ongoing for some time. You know, you all remember that Maimujuru is the first person to sign an MOU with MDC, and they discussed what they discussed, and they said they were, moving together. And then the first thing that he raised when other people started signing with the MDC was that he wanted to be president. Tsvangirai cannot be the president, something like that. And then she saw that all the other political leaders had endorsed Morgan Tsvangirai, including the general public, including civic organizations. They all said, right now where we are, we need someone who is already known like Morgan Changira. And then she later on said, I'm talking about what I hear Nyandoro, the spokesperson, saying, and herself saying in the paper. And then she said, oh, she's fine with that. It's not about position. And then now she comes up with a whole other thing, a lot other things. That is, the alliance can be called MDC. Because it would look like my party has been swallowed. How has it been swallowed? This arrangement is transitional and it's not permanent. It's only for the purposes of 2018. After that, she reverts to her name, NPP. And I don't know how she says her party is being swallowed. Nobody's party, no one's party is being swallowed here. The MDC name is just being used for the purposes of it being known everywhere by everyone in Zimbabwe. We don't have time. Madam Jury is behaving as if building an alliance or coming up with an alliance is the only thing that we need to do. Building up an alliance is nothing. Having an alliance is nothing. That alliance still has to go to the people and campaign. And the only name that is known by people right now, by people in Tirezi, Kuchomborwizi, Kuchimani Mani Kupi, it's MDC. We don't want to confuse people by coming up with another name. And then we start selling that name again. So even myself, I don't support MDC, but it makes sense to use the name MDC Alliance. So my Zulu doesn't want to join the alliance. She's just wasting people's time as far as I'm concerned, and we'll get to January and to not be part of the alliance. And then later on she'll announce that she's going to go it alone.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Just stop wasting people's time and do whatever she wants to do.
Okay. Chief Sose, let's have a conversation. Chief Sose, I'm just coming from my point of view that if we are going to have, let's say, ndinotedzera zvangu zvebhora a lot, football. Let's say you've got Tottenham and Chelsea, for example, yeah, and then they say, right, let's mix the best players from Chelsea and the best 5 players from Tottenham and the best 5 players from Chelsea. Then we form a stronger team to go and beat Manchester United. Now, what is that team going to be called? It can't be called Chelsea. It can't be called Tottenham. They have to find a name. Isn't it?
Yeah, but it also depends, DJ, on what you are bringing in. Arsenal and Tottenham, those are equal partners. Ma'am Jury and MDC, to be honest with you, they are not equal partners. What Morgan is bringing in is not equal to what Joyce is bringing in.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It is
Can I ask something?
Other opposition parties, but definitely she doesn't have as much support as Morgan has.
Fine. Okay, Sally wants to ask you a question.
Okay.
Well, actually, I want to ask Titch a question, okay? Because I'm completely lost. I thought the MDC alliance was between all the different MDC factions. Why is it now involving NPP?
It's not even that, because there is a Jacob Ngaruvume of Transform Zimbabwe. There is the splinter group NPP. There are other parties that are not MDC in that MDC alliance. And they've all agreed at the moment, the other 7 parties who are part of the alliance, they've all agreed to use the name MDC alliance, except MIME.
You're asking me.
Yes.
What you need to be asking him, based on what he said, which is not equal partners, etc., etc. I'm assuming that Jacob Ngarivume would be a more ideal partner in terms of the numbers that they are looking for and the representation that they want. And I'm assuming that Agrippa Mutambara is bringing the kind of thing that they want. So there shouldn't be an issue then. Because if NPP at the end of the day stick to their guns, I mean, there's 7 of them. It's a big number. They can proceed. I think that is the resolution that came from NPP. Our members from Matebeleland were actually talking about how ZAPU ended up becoming part of ZANU-PF. It's why I was explaining what happened historically, why ZANU-PF was registered in 1980 and PF ZAPU was also registered in 1980. PF ZAPU simply wanted to maintain the name Patriotic Front. They didn't have to change their name from ZAPU. ZANU had no choice because legally speaking, Ndabaningi Stole already had the name ZANU with his emblem of Chimwenje Ondonga. Now, the issue that we have at the moment is we are looking at a coalition, yet we are not government. Whereas ZAPU and ZANU, when they did their unit, they were already the major political party, both in parliament representation and in the defense forces and the military and the security sector. Now, when you look at it from that perspective, you can see how unique that was, but still the same, we ended up with ZAPU being absorbed under Robert Mugabe. So we are saying we are not going to be doing anything of that sort, even when we are not in government. These two parties are not in government. They cannot afford to have the kind of confusion that is being talked about. We do recognize their freedom to do whatever they want. The National Council of the National People's Party has resolved that it's not going to participate as part of an MDC alliance because we are not. I am not MDC alliance as an individual. My political party as an organization has resolved it's not going to be part of an MDC alliance. We've got our distinguishing mark. We are who we are. If MDC, however, are happy to be with Mtambara and Ngarivume and think that they are more important to them than a coalition with NPP, it's their democratic right, absolutely 100%. We can spend all day long arguing about that, but I can tell you that it's a resolution of the National Council, and they've done their own resolutions and are free to continue.
Okay, ndinombonzwawo kune vamwe panapa. In fact, regai ndimbonzwa kuna Vamoyo. Vamoyo, what's your take on this?
Yeah, it's quite interesting that they are still quarreling over these trivial matters. There's no point why the MDC would stick to its guns, but we need to maintain the name. In as much as there is no point whatsoever in NPP, trying to argue, but no, we cannot go in because of the name MDC. The truth of the matter, which is just too clear for all to see, is these people, they know that if they go there alone, definitely they will simply have eliminated even the slightest hope of a chance of any victory. They know it. That's why they are talking about these coalitions. And they even know that even as a coalition, they will simply have slightly improved their chances, their hope, not a guarantee of a victory. They know that. So the actual problem that they should be addressing is how do they appeal to the people? And this idea of names and what have you, this is excess baggage to them, and why they are sticking to that, nobody knows. Both of them, they are acting quite petty there, and I don't think it's to their advantage in any way. They should be looking at real issues here as to what is it that they should bring to the people, to appeal to the people so that the people vote for them. Because in their current state, they know they stand no chance. That's why they are actually talking of this coalition.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Wamoyo. Mkoma Wilbert, what's your take on this issue? There's a disagreement of which name to go with here. The NPP are saying we have to find a neutral name, and the MDC are saying actually Isusu, we are a bigger party and people know MDC, so you should come to us and get into MDC alliance. What's your take, Mkoma Wilbert? I know as a neutral there.
Well, I think if we are going to go into a partnership, surely is what name we end up using is part of the negotiations. You can make your argument like you were saying that maybe if we were to join as two teams, Arsenal and Tottenham,
Yeah.
and if we come up with a completely new name, what you've got to also remember is that name probably nobody will know about it. Whereas if it has got Arsenal, Tottenham in it somewhere,
Yeah.
it'll be a selling point. So
Right.
that is part of the argument. Nonetheless, in this particular case, if NPP, for instance, are saying, well, we don't want the name of the coalition to have MDC because we think that it will be looking as if we've been absorbed by MDC. I think that point I can understand as a politician, where you are saying, well, you still want to keep your identity because after all, this coalition is not meant to be that the old parties are being dissolved completely. This is a coalition working together, but the parties are still going to have their separate identities. So, that argument is part of the negotiations. And I think in this particular case, each side can go in the negotiations and state their position. But to say it before you even go into the negotiations that this is not negotiable, I think it's negotiating in bad faith. That's personally what I think. And in this particular case, if you are going to negotiate, at least you should go there with an open mind. We think this is a better name because of A, B, C, D. And the other person can say what they think as well and come up with a counter and a name or whatever it is, and people can negotiate on it. And I honestly think with anyone who try to make it as if it is a precondition, you come in, if you accept this name, I think it's negotiating in bad faith.
Okay. Aiwa, thank you so much. Koma will be there. Teteo Mashoko, what's your take on this one? What name should be, should they agree on here?
You know what? I don't know if having a new name, not having a new name really changes that much. Here is what I'm going to say to you. What really matters is the message that you send to people. A message that is very coherent, very clear, very precise, that addresses the issues, the bread and butter issues of people, which is people being hungry, no money, no finances, no jobs. Now, the very fact that today, September 1, we are still talking about names, we're still talking about leadership, that automatically gives a message that we are more concerned about power. We are not really concerned about your bread and butter issues, which is really sad because it's a cycle. It's, when you make a mistake once, it gives you an opportunity to review what went wrong and where you could improve. It happens second time, something is definitely wrong. It happens third time, leave it alone. Or really strip it back to basics. With meaning, when I say strip it down to basics, this is the occasion where every single party that is involved in this coalition should actually be nominating 2 people or 3 leaders from each party who they will say, you know what, they don't have too much baggage. For reasons that I just don't want to go into because then I lose the message. Each and every person, every leader has got so much baggage. That is exactly why there is this apathy within the Zimbabwean community. Everybody kind of sees it coming that, you know what, we've been here before. We are not hearing anything new. Nobody is indicating that they are taking a different pathway, using different policies, using different or gathering information, and that includes us. Budijokora said, Vanu were saying, Ziva, ndo vanofunga ku leader. And here's what I'm going to say. Maybe they did. Where is that documentation or the data to prove that? Which people really were asked and then nominated, and then that was in a document that was circulated or shown, discussed within the coalition, kuti ndizvo zvatiri kutaura. Evidence says, as such, this is why best we are going to take this opportunity. I could name kubvira vana Chamisa. I could name on the kune mame ma what you call it ma groups. Kuna na ivo vanhu vakaita sana teacher. They are new. They don't have that much baggage. These are the young people who should be stepping into the elderly. The same people vakakura na Mugabe who still want to go on and this listen. I'm not disrespecting somebody or anybody. I'm not saying vanhu kana vachembera havagone kuleader. But history is repeating itself. We are where we are because we don't want change. We are where we are because power is intoxicating and people want to just hold on to it. By virtue that we are not discussing that, we don't see that, do you wonder why then tichiwana vana vachipuwa doro voenda mumastreets vobvunzwa questions are so basic and they can't answer them? Come on. I mean, this is frustrating.
So,
sad.
I know it's wrong, but chindipaiwo your thought in any tete. What name should they go with?
A name, I repeat, it's not about a name. If they decide to have a name, let it not be about a name. It's not about a name. A name, a brand has to have a face to it. A face that has got so much baggage is not going to cut it. To show true leadership, those same leaders, you know what, we can go to Nana Malaysia. There is that lady, Nakawana Peace Award, who is now leading the country, but other people are in the forefront. But here from the wings, she's actually running the country. Thank you. My Mujuru, hands down, any day, I will say Ngave mo the forefront. Do you understand me? Same as when Vakaita Sana Ziva. But then in this case, Nekuti Ngave, the people who balance, they've been round the block so long. But at the same time, Ngave kuba selfish not to involve and not nominate fresh blood so that people gain that confidence. New faces who will run even if they do decide to go to MDC. Even if they do decide to go to ZANU-PF chayo. I know some people who they don't prepare mathematics, but my point is new faces, new policies, and genuine from the heart, where we see kuti my leaders edu achona sit in my boardrooms vachiti tiri kutaura coalition. They mean it and they are doing it for the country. It's not about power. At the moment, it's about power. The mere fact kuti somebody has just mentioned kuti come January, my jury is going to go, no, you know what? This is where we part ways. This marriage didn't work. What message are you sending to people who are suffering this much?
Okay.
Come on.
All right, thank you. Sally, in one word, what name should they go with?
Why one word? That's mean.
I'm trying to get answers from people, but I'm not getting it. What name should they go with? If you were to be asked it straight away, what name should they go with?
Freedom for the people of Zimbabwe. That's about it I could come up with.
Okay.
On the spur of a moment like that.
Okay.
Can I just say something very quickly?
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in what is happening because, as Tete said, this is looking to the people on the ground like a power struggle. Okay, and it's got to come to a stage, people, we are nearly there, okay, where it's actually the people that count and bugger the power. Okay, I'll shut up quickly.
Okay, that's fine. Mukoma andinobvunza ono maculprits andinoziva anozonditaurira zina basa. Mukoma Wilbert.
Yes, sir.
Which name do you think they should go with?
honestly, I really don't know which name they should go with. But I agree with the Tetu Nasali. The name is not really the most important thing. You could call it whatever you like, you know. But but in this particular case, my point was that if you are going to go into a negotiation, I think it's part of the negotiations. What name are we going to call ourselves? I agree with sometimes you find yes, they say some names that are marketable, some are not so marketable, and so forth. But nonetheless, it's part of the negotiations. It should be part of the negotiations. You go there with an open mind to accept whatever. You may go there with your own view of saying, no, this name is not acceptable, or that name is not acceptable. But nonetheless, it's part of the negotiations. And I don't think you should be spending so much time on the name. I don't think it is important. The name is not the most important thing here.
So they shouldn't use either MDC or NPP on that.
Whatever they agree, but you don't have to spend months discussing the name. Because there are other very important issues to be discussed here, and time is running out. Time is of the essence, and for you to be still be talking of what name should we call ourselves, to me is ridiculous. I think it is ridiculous.
Okay, Aiwa, thank you so much. I'm sorry. Koma Tichi na wadzokora there, I shouldn't ask you that same question. Because I know what you are going to say, so there is no point. Anyway, guys, matambo yoyo. Regai chingobvunza iwe a couple of questions that we asked it earlier on, Chief Sose, and I know you were not here. Just in brief, what did you make of the solidarity march yesterday?
That's a big joke. I yearn for that Zimbabwe. I dream for that Zimbabwe where we are going to make non-partisan decisions. Where if Morgan Shangirai makes a mistake or does something wrong, even another group radio panel, they will come and shout out, he must apologize to the people. And then I also yearn for that time where if it is Mugabe who has made a mistake, that is the Zimbabwe that we should be building, that we should be looking forward to. Where if someone makes a mistake, we know that Mai made a mistake. And then we have people who take it upon themselves to go and demonstrate, accusing the South African government, accusing a number of people, saying it was a setup. She committed a crime. She beat someone. Whatever it was, it is a crime. And luckily, she was pardoned because of the diplomatic immunity thing, but she committed a crime. Why do you go in the street and demonstrate? And ironically, when the day that ZANU-PF had their march, the opposition had also submitted their letter to go and have a march against the South African High Commission, and they were refused permission. And the ZANU-PF ones were given permission to do the same thing. But anyway, in short, we should not be defending things that are wrong. It's very wrong as a nation.
Okay. Aiwa. No, that's fine. Thank you so much for that. Another thing that we asked people earlier on, Musat Mauya, was the issue ya Sodza. Mainzwawo zvairikutaurwa, ndakainzwa yakutaurwa nepanews kuZimbabwe. What is this all nonsense about?
Yeah, it's nonsense. Yeah, you're very right. It's nonsense. We concentrate on things that are non-productive, things that do not contribute to our well-being as a nation. this is Zodwa, she's an entertainer. You know, we have entertainers in Zimbabwe who do West. We have an Bev, nobody has said anything about them. And then they go out and start criticizing. What? You know, and those the very same politicians and as well are the very same people who go to the avenues and take those girls. Because this issue was started by Joao. He is the one who started talking about this, and his girlfriend Anna started the petition. So it's a ZANU-PF thing. If you look at it now, it becomes a ZANU-PF thing, because what would Joao, a minister, you know, has to do with a young girl who is trying to entertain, who is trying to earn a living? Why is he getting in there? Why is he getting involved? You know, of course, we will not get distracted. If the goal is to get the people of Zimbabwe distracted and focus on things that don't matter, we are not distracted. We are focusing on what we are supposed to be focusing on: 2018 elections, voter education, talking to the people about the alliance, educating the people to go and register, and encouraging them to go and vote. That's what we should concentrate on in Zimbabwe, not these, you know, these games, funny games.
Aiwa, thank you so much, Chief Soswe, nekuya pachirongwa kwamaita. Manonoka nenyu, but we have had all you had to say about the issues that we had here today. Thank you so much for that. Koma teacher, have you got anything else to say there before we conclude, please?
Zimbabwe Freedom Alliance.
Oh, that's the name you want.
Yeah.
Coalition would be nice.
Yeah, Zimbabwe Freedom Coalition, Zimbabwe Freedom
Yes.
Alliance. Okay, yeah.
Coalition sounds powerful.
But what I wanted to say was to support Angu Chief Soswe on one aspect there. Is that acting Minister of Tourism, Joao, was overstepping his authority. Because visiting artists are licensed by the National Arts Council. If it was them that were complaining or objecting to a coming, they would simply not issue with a work permit that would be then handed over to immigration control for entrance into the country. So, I don't know on what basis Joao made the statement or even wrote the letter or entertained it without referring it to the National Arts Council, who are the custodians of what licensing is given to any performer that comes into the country. So I really agree with the Chief Soswe there, that this is pure nonsense of coming up with this issue. I'm not a fan of Zodwa, but I believe in a right to come and perform, just as our people go and perform in South Africa, including our very own prostitutes that roam the streets of Hillsborough, world notorious. Now we also have a lot of Zimbabwean artists that perform there. We even had some of them dying in South Africa. So, but they're always looked after. And Nira herself is an actress based in South Africa for the past 10 years. So at the end of the day, all these people have never heard the ANC government talk about these people. They're dealt with at the relevant entertainment level at which they apply normally. You know, if the people that run the entertainment industry or regulate it there decided that this is not acceptable, then that would be an issue. Or if the census board decided that then maybe this is outside the range, then that would be acceptable. The simple fact of the matter is that Zodwa is an adult entertainer. That goes without saying. She is an adult entertainer. So there's no censorship. It's for adults that are willing and able, that go there by choice to want to entertain themselves. Whether it's perverted or not is neither here nor there. So speaking fundamentally from a point of law, they should just simply allow her to come. That's it. People will either attend the show or not attend the show. It's not up to anyone else to start saying, oh, she's popular or it goes against her. How many Rastafarians come and smoke bajes? That's our culture in our country.
I heard Joao saying that because she doesn't wear underwear, Zimbabwe is a conservative country and all this kind of stuff. You know.
Let me answer that straight away right now, so that we are nice and clear on these issues.
Yeah.
I want to first of all apologize to the two ladies, Tete and Sally, who are on the panel, and any other that may be listening. You know, Sally, are you wearing your panties right now?
No, my darling, I never do.
You see,
I don't even have panties.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah. Who is going around checking and comatose?
I like that, Sally.
I don't, because I wear tights and trousers. I don't wear dresses. I don't have panties. What's the problem?
Is that therapy going to be gurering women to check if they are wearing, or if Sodza comes and starts performing, are they going to be gurering to see if she's wearing it or not? It's a very silly take, honestly.
No, but then they said because she wasn't Zimbabwean. So then she said, but hang on a minute, because I listened to an interview with her on Radio 702 today. And she said, but hang on a minute, they're Brazilian and Cuban and everything.
Yeah, they come with a stick
from all over the world.
Just stick something on their privates and everything else is hanging.
You're very lucky if that thing sticking on their privates is even stuck properly. Listen, a Brazilian will dance stark naked with no problems, okay? And why say, because she's not Zimbabwean? Okay, so then what are the Brazilians and the Cubans and the Venezuelans and all the other dancers that are coming? Are they Zimbabwean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pathetic.
And who would be going to look down there? That's the question.
Oh, all the men. We know that.
Now,
Ngomongo.
Yes, what's your comment on this one?
The little I got from it is the one who actually initiated it was Limbai and Nira, who argued with this woman. She goes too far in her revelations. Nobody goes down there to look, but she reveals herself. But now, according to Anira, her argument was, if this is what we want, why would we look for somebody from outside instead of using our own? And she actually cited one, but no, we have them already. And to make it more juicy, she even says there's a monetary aspect of it, where if this Sodza was to come, I told people, why don't we give one of our own this money? We cannot talk of Brazilians and all that, because those ones are bringing something totally different in terms of culture, in terms of what they are going to perform.
You haven't seen the dance.
I just need to ask Mamo a question. Naim Komamo, zvatinonzi ana dance hall, ana Biniman. Isusu nemageto yutedu vapinda mudance hall kunge vakapinda. How come we allow that? We even have mafikizolo kamhiye tinana jaya praise avidi. Why are we not?
Vanobhadhara nani
vanobhadhara nemapromota kamukoma ndizvo zvinoitika.
Handitika.
Mirai makazonzomubvunzawo zvakanaka muzodaridza. So inini I'm just saying, we also have vana mutukudzi vachienda kuSouth Africa vachinoperform. Yet ana Ringo variko ikoko vanoimba kare. So if you can address it from that perspective.
Ningi vana Ringo vane their own type of music. Nana mutukudzi ine vanhu vanovafarirawo. But the issue ndeyekuti kana vachizenge vaenda ikoko anotsvaga hall yake yaanoti ndahaya this hall apa ndakuita show yangu. Vanoda nezveshow yake vopinda imomo. The difference here is Zodwa is not coming to hire hall yekuti ndaakunosvika haya akauya aine that angle imwe chete iyoyo yekuti ndauya ndoda kusvika haya this hall ndoita show yangu imomo vanoda vanobhadhara vachipinda haangamborambidzwa kuuya akatombouya on that score she has been there before akatombouya
What is the objection?
Akabvumirwa. Sorry,
what's the objection?
Yeah, the objection ndekuti iye zvino kwaari kwaakuenda iye zvino that option iyoyo yekuti vanoda ngavauya haisiko and ninge akubhadharwa manje haasisi kubhadharwa nevanhu vanouya kuzoona aiwa iyi inenge yatova some state funding or something yekuti mari yachona iri kumbobva kupi ndozviri kunziko zvinoti timbonotsvaga munhu wekuSouth Africa kuzopa mari sitinawo pano vanogona kuita the same thing ngatipei vedu ava. And in that case, I think Nira is right.
I think you have misunderstood, Mkom. If it's being paid by the state, you are saying the state has invited her, and then the same state wants to ban her. Is that what?
No. I not invite her. He and the akati anoda kuuya.
No. She was invited. She was invited, Mkom.
Ndikaendipame kujekesa. Every artist anouya kuzotishanyira kana kuti edu paanoenda kunoshanya havabhadharwe nepublic, vanobhadharwa napromoter who will have the responsibility to hire the hall, hire the PA, and do all the necessary PR and marketing of the event, and also the relevant immigration requirements to get the work permit necessary. It's never the public. It's a promoter. There's always a promoter who is promoting the show. He's the one who's going to make a profit, and the entertainer has an agreed contractual fee that they will be paid. Zodwa was offered an agreed contractual fee to come and perform, and right now she was waiting for her passport, which she had sent through to be processed by the promoter through her own management. So at the end of the day, the situation that we have prevailing is Zodwa is coming because there's a promoter that has found a niche market. That promoter is Zimbabwean, and that promoter is the one that stays to make money by Zodwa coming. Zodwa will be paid a fixed fee as the standard practice in the entertainment industry. There is no depriving local artists. If local artists were attractive enough for the event, or if the person didn't want to bring that particular type of flavor, they could have hired Bev. Bev has actually been hired, I believe, by Kofi Olomide. So local promoters are promoting Zodwa so that they will make money. So this Nira is either stupid or ignorant.
Or both.
Or both. She's both. Okay, let's suppose it's both. Saka, is this, what is our problem? Are we not fighting for Zodwa? Is this problem Educhi?
Problem we are being petty on things that our own artists. If you remember, there was an artist called Amoni Mamvura, ended up in South Africa called Amoni Mvula. He died there as a South African, but they were welcomed there.
But we are not saying we are being petty. Why would you want to be petty? Stop being petty.
The problem Mkoma ndekuti let's have an interaction. Mama bvunza kana ndakudaira zvinomamba mani interrupt. So inini I'm just saying to you, we even have an Cynthia Mare Munoma Nangoni Kambarani based here in the UK. We even have the notorious boy Akanoita Musindo Boy and on the Nash Daddy. They are based in the UK. It's the nature of the industry. You don't restrict artists. That's all I'm saying. That's a art. You know, whether you like it or you dislike it, it's a matter of taste. You know, some people say it's posh to eat caviar. I find it disgusting. So it's a matter of taste. So if people don't like Zodwa, the promoter is going to make a loss because people aren't going to turn up. Let it be. It's self-regulating by its very nature. It doesn't need anyone coming up with this kind of political razzmatazz, you know, about it, especially soon after we are disgraced by the first lady like that.
Mukoma will bet.
Can I say something there?
Yes, Mukoma will bet. Please say something.
Yeah, I think this comes back to what we were talking about the very beginning of the program, where ZANU-PF is always trying to set the agenda and divert people's attention from the real issues that are affecting people on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, in this particular case, to be quite honest, when you have got people who are unemployed, who some of them are living on $1 a day, this lady, if she comes, they can't even afford to go to see a show anyway. And that is not an issue to them. And this government is very good at that, where they drum up an issue that is totally irrelevant and make a mountain out of a molehill. And I think we make the mistake of taking the bait. This is not an issue. This, if they try to block here, they are only trying to have headlines. And I think we will be making a mistake in making.
They will allow it. Ultimately, they allow it after entertaining us and diverting us so long.
Who is in charge of issuing the license for her?
National Arts.
Now, who's in charge of National Arts?
Mahoso.
No, Mahoso is in charge of the regulating authority for journalist registration.
Okay, doesn't the censorship board have anything to do with it?
No, the censorship board will only come into it if there's any issue to do with the audience. That's why I was emphasizing that adult entertainer. So censorship board doesn't come in. Censorship board will rate a movie and say no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
So this is pure adult entertainment. So the censorship board doesn't come in.
All right. Teto Mashoko, Teto Mashoko, you want to say something?
Saka ZANU-PF yakwanisa kuflexa muscles nemunhu anobuda pachena kuti inini this is how I earn my money, and they have managed to flex their muscles. Never mind vana vavaitisa kuti vaende vanoita pole dancing. You know what? Let me tell you something about my double standards as ZANU-PF and why I can't stand them. Do you know that vakadzi vechiZimbabwean were actually prostituting vachienda among hotels in countries like New Zealand, Australia? And it's not talked about out of respecting and preserving other people's dignity. Yet somebody who comes out and says, this is who I am, my own thing, ZANU-PF then decides to censor kuti, no, this is wrong, yeah, right, whatever. On top of that, ZANU-PF nasu what they are saying is, inindinozviti ndinopinda post story andidi handiende ikoko, so I have no choice. I can't make that choice inini yekuti kunenge kuchiperforma whether ndiBev whether ndizodwa. I can't make that decision to not go. If anybody wants to go and do whatever they want to do, they are over 18, please be my guest. Azvinei izvozvo and azvinei neZANU-PF.
All right. On that note,
I think it is not proper kuti the ZANU-PF government inodiveta vanhu attention. Vanhu vacho ndo vanozvidiveta vega nemhaka yekuti havana direction. That's why muchigara muchitaura nenyaya yekuti mavhoti anozosplita mavhoti anosplita. Why ari enyu chete anosplita? Kose ZANU vachona asingasplite.
All right. Okay.
Because isusu vachona ndisu tiri too petty, and nyaya dzana Grace nana Zodwa, these could have gone unnoticed because they were so trivial. Zvokuti ndisu takazviblow out of proportion nemhaka yekuti we are petty and we have nothing else to do. That is our problem.
All right. Okay, Mamoyo.
Your problem for sure, Moyo. Not mine.
I think what we shouldn't forget here is that ZANU-PF controls the media, the public media. And therefore then the public media, whether we like it or not, does have an influence on what people talk about. I know ZANU-PF will publicize something like that to the point of being upset. You know, the demonstrations we're talking about earlier on, they were happening in public, such that you cannot ignore them. This is part and parcel of this is part and parcel of what ZANU-PF is doing.
Okay. Can you quote an article in newspaper concerning Nyaya Grace? Quote me an article in newspaper concerning Nyaya Grace. Public media.
Blackout. We can quote News 24, SABC, DSTV.
But that is not ZANU-PF news.
That's why Kamaukita solidarity, like you were outplayed on this one.
I'm saying we jump on minus the media.
Why shouldn't we, Moyo?
Public media did not
Why
play
shouldn't
any part,
we?
but this is like a jump on. This is like we jump on.
People did something else in public, Moyo. We have a right to speak about it.
He's earning money now, Sally. Don't bother.
Right, okay.
I know that. And it's
Okay, guys. Okay.
boring me to tears.
Let him have a final word.
I'm sorry.
Please.
Woman
Woman is supposed to have a final word.
Time. Let's meet again next week. Ndokusema katerera ukambo kubva kuna John Chibadura kanonzi Hosana. Zimbabwe will meet again next week. I'm hoping that Sekuru will be here. I know he's been helping his friend Arsene Wenger, trying to lose some players to Arsenal there, because they are languishing at number 16th or in the log at the moment. So hopefully they've signed some players there to kickstart their season next week. I want Sekuru to succeed on this one, because remember, he said Arsenal or Chelsea are going to win this Premier League, and I said it's going to Manchester. We shall see